Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Philip Radukic, and I'm a product manager and senior consultant here at CA Experts, and as such responsible for the UPV web services, browser-based viewing, and associated technologies. Today, we are continuing our new webinar series concentrating on various real-life use cases. These use cases will show some examples on how UPV can be implemented to make processes run more smoothly, how to save time and effort and utilize the various features of UPV at its best. And today's part 3 of the series will be covering another topic relevant on a day-to-day basis on site, and especially in owner-operator environments. How UPV can assist you by using packages for various tasks. As always, this session will be recorded, and we will provide you the link to the recording subsequently by email. At any time during the webinar, feel free to use the questions panel and state your questions, and I will try to answer as many as possible after the live demo. Okay, great. Then let's actually take a look straight into today's agenda. So first of all, we'll have a short introduction, and from there we'll go straight to the live demo, covering a general introduction to UPV packages, creation and management of packages, use case work preparation, and use case contractor management. So how can UPV and packages assist with the tasks at hand? In the daily business, it is often required to break down models to simpler parts. So to single units or technical places or something like that. So the reasons can be various, from work preparation to contractor management, or providing different teams with the concentrated information for their needs at hand. And UPV has had this package feature for years now, but we've been constantly improving the functionality and the system behind the packages. And still, there's a series of questions customers came up with in the past. First of all, how can they really help you to become more efficient with your work? How are they actually used? What additional advantages do they bring? And let's go to the live demo. So basically, if I want to set some type of view filtering, there's different options in UPV. So first of all, I can use a breadcrumb tree here by double-clicking and saying, okay, filter for this to get a certain area. Or I could select basically things from the attributes by right-clicking and saying select, and filter for that. But what if I actually want to define a more granular package? So yeah, sure, I could go ahead and select objects, turn them on and off to get a certain view, and perhaps also save a view for future usage and send it around to colleagues. But basically, what if I want to define an exact scope here? And this is basically where packages come into place. So how do we actually create and manage packages? On the right panel, we have the files tree, which is right now empty, but let's create a new folder that we're calling packages live demo. And in this folder, we're going to create a package now, and we'll call it, oh, I'll just leave it as package or package 1. So when the package is created, we have to go into the edit mode, and now we have different tools to actually define the scope of a package. So we can start by selecting multiple objects with the control key held down and say, okay, give me a condition from selection. For few objects, this is actually helpful. If we do the same thing, now let me delete this, by, for example, selecting recovery stage 1 here, and saying, okay, add it. So now we have 409 conditions because every object, every UID is given a condition here. So if we want to reduce the amount of selections here, we're probably going to have a lot of fun. So instead, for these large amounts, we could, for example, use the second option, condition by attribute. So in this case, it gives me one condition, that is UID equals this. But I would like actually to take not the UID, but the unit system, for example. And you see it automatically switches here to recovery stage 1A. And let's say, okay, I want to take this. So let me confirm the definition. And now I can use this select button here, and it will actually give me an exact match for this attribute. So let's filter by that. First thing we're noticing here, I did have some support structures in it too, and let's say I don't want to have them. So I can either go into editing the package and say, okay, now I actually want to select all single components and say remove them. But instead, I will actually now define a volume. So in this case, I will highlight 2 objects that are basically covering my scope here, or maybe this one here too, and say, okay, and now add condition by volume, the third button. And yes, I want to take into account overlaps, and since I've picked some objects here that are basically quite well describing the volume, I can maybe extend it a little bit by just clicking on it. But all in all, this way my volume is defined. And in this case, the filter would process a Boolean request saying this, if this condition is met or this condition is met. So it would still display the same result as now, but I can change this by clicking on the or. I can say, oh, okay, both conditions need to be met, which is probably going to give us only the content of this volume here, or say and not. So basically, I want the package I defined previously. That's all we see now, minus whatever is overlapping with this box here. And if I do a selection now, you see that these objects are not selected anymore. And if I turn the filter off and on again, it will be gone. So we can combine several definitions here, several different definitions. So I can also define in the volume if I want it to overlap or strictly was fully inside. So any object crossing my volume will not be part of the condition, or say exclusively outside. So I'm clipping basically everything else that's outside the box. Additionally, I can also create groups. So to define more complicated queries, for example, I want everything that's basically in here. And let's pull this one down. And not the overlay box, or, for example, this piece here. I'll add this by attribute and switch the attribute to name, so it will take the nozzles along. So what does this do? It says this or this. So basically, it will give me all results that meet either of these conditions, and then pack that in a group and say, okay, our initial selection, excluding and not everything that's in this that meets this condition here. So if I again run the package, you will see it will give me everything we selected previously, minus all volume in the back, minus this reactor here, or vessel, whatever it is. And when I filter it, we get basically our reduced scope here. How does this actually help us with work preparation? Well, this way I can define very tight scopes to actually see what I'm looking at when I go out in the field. And inside the package, now I can concentrate on the objects I have here, looking for example for layout plans or maintenance instructions or P&IDs, whatever is included in the model, but stripped down to a view that's of all that's necessary for me. This way, I can actually go ahead and have a better view at what I'm dealing with, and also with if I take highlight instead of filtering, I can also oh, hold on, select my package first, have everything else grayed out, so I don't lose my orientation within the plant, but everything that's of concern to me is basically in its original model colors. So what else can we do? One of the great possibilities we have here is actually a submodel creation by package. So what if I don't want to filter my model? What if I want to create a new model that contains only certain objects? So with UPV, that's quite easy by creating a package, and I can go ahead and save this package now. And let me select, because I've already prepared one, packages 2, and save it as an XLSX file. So what will this do? If I open this Excel file here that I just created, we can actually see the definition of the packages, and we could now load these into UPV. What will that help us? Well, let's actually to the UPV builder. First of all, we can also create packages directly in the Excel file. If I know my conditions, I can just state them here and also create groups and so on with a very simple syntax. And I can reuse these for creating submodels. How does this work? Basically, in the UPV builder, I load my UPVC or UPVM file, and I define a package definition file to use. In this case, I've used the previous version of this packages file, and it gives me the option to generate the complete model, which I turned off, or from the packages, I have packages live demo, package, and I actually want to create a model just from this package. So I can now generate the output, especially for a model this size. It would go fast, but since I already had a webinar this morning, I prepared a model there. Let me just open that one. Okay, went to the wrong screen. Here we go. And you see, as opposed to the previous model, we have actually excluded everything that was outside the package. So this way, we have a stripped down model. There's no filters, there's no hidden items, they're just not there. What would this be good for? Let's say, for example, for contractor management. So you can provide models to contractors without basically giving them the whole model, the full information of the plant, but just giving them that part of the model that's really of concern to them. And this way, you can also basically boost your security of information by keeping it basically on a need-to-know basis. What else can we actually do now with this model? Well, for example, in combination with the browser-based viewing and the UPV web services, you can now provide this model to contractors barely on a permission level that you can withdraw anytime. So no need to give a model into the hands of external staff, but basically you can just grant them access to view the model in an environment that you control. So in this case, in UPV web services, let's say I have this single unit 3D. Perhaps I will set this to actually preload once, so it will be opening faster. And I set certain permissions. So in this case, I created a user down here, which is contractor A, belongs to the group 1 model, and the group 1 model does not have any permissions except for single unit S3D. And how does it actually affect the user's view? Let's try it. Let me log in as a different user and log in as contractor A. And of all the models you were able to see right now, the only one you see now is this single unit S3D, because the contractor only has access to this model. And if I now say open a browser, it opens straight in the browser environment. And if I choose to withdraw the permission for the contractor to view this, or for the user, they won't be able to see this package anymore straight away. So there's quite a few advantages of using packages, not only for filtering or maybe even exporting or creating drawings or similar, but also to limit the amount of data you're giving out of house, that's going out of premises. So this was a very quick overview of basic packaging functions.